The countdown clock glowed like a beating heart. 10, 9, 8. The stadium was a galaxy of phone lights, each one trembling, each one waiting. Fireworks were poised like held breaths beyond the skyline. On stage, Xiao stood alone beneath a soft wash of blue, his microphone cradled in both hands as if it were something fragile, something alive. When the first note rose into the winter air, it didn't just sound like music. It sounded like a confession. By the time the chorus arrived, the tears had already begun. It wasn't the kind of crying meant for cameras. There was no dramatic collapse, no choreographed pause. It was quieter than that, more devastating. His voice wavered, steadied, then wavered again, and the audience felt it in their bones. Somewhere between the second verse and the final refrain, a single tear slipped free, traced a bright path under the lights, and fell. In that instant, New Year's Eve stopped being a celebration and became a vigil. And almost immediately, fans whispered the same question into the cold night. Is this song for Wang Yibo? A stage heavy with memory. Xiao has always known how to command a stage. He knows how to smile when the cameras swing toward him, how to project warmth to the farthest seats, how to make joy look effortless. That night, though, the joy came braided with something else, something old and aching and unhidden. The song was unfamiliar, yet intimate. Its lyrics spoke of distances measured not in miles but in silences, of promises folded away like letters never sent. Lines about walking past the same winter and learning how to say goodbye without speaking echoed across the crowd. Each word landed softly, then sank deep. As the melody unfolded, Xiao eyes searched the darkness beyond the footlights, as if he were looking for someone who might, or might not, be there. The band faded into a hush. The crowd did the impossible. Tens of thousands of people fell silent together. When the clock struck midnight, fireworks bloomed like sudden suns behind him. He didn't turn to watch. He kept singing, tears shimmering, voice breaking on a lyric that felt too personal to be coincidence. That was when the internet ignited. The fans connect the dots. Within minutes, clips flooded social media. Slowed-down videos zoomed in on Xiao trembling hands, the way he pressed his lips together after the bridge, the breath he took before the final line, as if bracing himself. Fans replayed the song again and again, pausing on specific lyrics, circling phrases, comparing them to interviews from years past. The theories arrived in waves. Some pointed out the timing. New Year's Eve, a night of endings and beginnings, a night when people think about who they've lost and who they still carry with them. Others focused on the imagery in the lyrics, references to shared stages, parallel paths, and a name I don't say, but never forget. Screenshots appeared beside old photographs, Xiao and Wang Yibo laughing backstage, standing shoulder to shoulder under harsh white lights, bowing together as applause thundered. The refrain became a rallying cry online. This is for him. He's singing to Yibo. You can hear it. You can feel it. Whether whispered in comment sections or written boldly across fan edits, the idea spread with astonishing speed. Not because fans wanted drama, but because the emotion felt unmistakably real. A history that refuses to fade. To understand why that night hit so hard, you have to understand the weight of the history behind it. Xiao and Wang Yibo were once inseparable in the public imagination, two stars rising in tandem, their chemistry sparking conversations far beyond the screen. They moved like mirrors of each other then, one fiery, one cool, one expressive, one restrained. Time, as it always does, pulled them onto separate paths. Careers shifted. Appearances grew rarer. Smiles became more careful. The world watched from a distance, filling the quiet with speculation. And yet, the memory lingered. Fans remembered the glances held a beat too long, the laughter that came too easily, the way they seemed to understand each other without explanation. Even as years passed, the story never fully let go. It slept, perhaps, but it never ended. So when Xiao stood on that stage, voice breaking under a lyric about someone who taught me how to be brave, the past didn't feel distant at all. It felt present, pressing, alive. Tears that changed the night. The most haunting moment came near the end. The music softened to almost nothing. Zhan lowered the microphone, just for a second, as if to breathe. The crowd waited, holding the silence like glass. When he lifted it again, his eyes were wet, lashes clumped with tears. He smiled, small, apologetic, and spoke just 3 words. "Thank you for listening." Then he sang the final line. It wasn't perfect. His voice cracked. But that imperfection became the night's heartbeat. Fans later said it felt like watching someone choose honesty over polish, truth over performance. As the fireworks reached their peak and confetti rained down, Zhan bowed deeply. The applause was deafening, yet he seemed far away, wrapped in a moment only he fully understood. And somewhere, fans imagined another person hearing that song. Silence louder than words. Wang Yibo did not comment. That silence only fueled the storm. Every post, every like, every absence became part of the narrative. Fans scanned his social media for clues, timestamps, song recommendations, even emojis. A single shared track playlist. A photo posted hours later than usual. The internet turned into a constellation map, trying to draw lines between distant stars. Was it coincidence? Or was it restraint? No one knew. No one knows. And perhaps that is why the moment endures. Because it lives in the space between certainty and longing, between what is said and what is left unsaid. The power of an unanswered question. In the days that followed, the performance was replayed millions of times. Reaction videos multiplied. Think pieces bloomed. Fans debated respectfully, passionately, endlessly. Some urged caution, reminding everyone that art does not always point to a single muse. Others insisted that some emotions are too precise to be accidental. Zhan, for his part, offered no explanation. He returned to work. He smiled at events. He thanked fans for their support. The song remained as it was, untitled by context, heavy with feeling, open to interpretation. And maybe that's the point. Because not all stories need confirmation to be true in the ways that matter. Some truths live in the chest, not the headline. Some songs are letters written in melody, meant not to be answered, but to be heard. A new year, a lingering echo. As the calendar turned and the world rushed forward, that New Year's Eve performance refused to fade. It replayed in the quiet moments, in headphones on late-night walks, in clips shared with soft captions, in comments that simply read, "I felt this." Whether the song was for Wang Yibo or for a chapter now closed, it did something rare. It reminded people that even the brightest stars carry shadows, that even those who seem invincible feel loss, gratitude, and love just as deeply as anyone else. On that night, Zhan didn't just welcome a new year. He opened a door. And somewhere in the echo of that final note, fans continued to listen, hoping, wondering, and holding space for a story that may never be spoken aloud, but will never be forgotten. Long after the fireworks burned out and the crowd spilled into the frozen streets, that song refused to end. Inside the stadium, crew members were already dismantling the stage, coiling cables, folding lights, sweeping confetti into dull piles. But the echo lingered, clinging to the rafters like a held breath. People swore they could still hear it. That last fragile note, trembling between resolve and regret. Zhan had left the stage, but the night followed him. Backstage, the air was warmer, heavy with perfume, sweat, and adrenaline. Assistants murmured congratulations. Managers checked schedules. Someone offered water. Zhan nodded, smiled, thanked everyone. Perfectly polite, perfectly composed. Yet those closest to him noticed the small things. The way his fingers still shook, the way he pressed his thumb into his palm as if grounding himself, the way his eyes drifted to nowhere when he thought no one was watching. The song had taken something out of him. Outside, fans didn't go home. They clustered in circles, phones glowing like small moons, replaying the performance on loop. Each replay unlocked something new. A pause they hadn't noticed. A breath held too long. a lyric that now sounded like a memory rather than poetry. "This part," someone whispered, dragging the video back again. "Listen to how he says it." The line fell out of the speakers like a secret. Not loud, not dramatic, just honest. The lyrics that cut too close. By morning, the lyrics were everywhere, typed out, translated, analyzed word by word. Fans highlighted phrases as if they were clues in a mystery only the heart could solve. "If I don't call your name, will the world forget we once stood side by side?" That single line sent shockwaves through fandom spaces. Side by side. Not across from each other. Not behind. Together. The wording felt deliberate, almost dangerous in its specificity. Others pointed to the chorus, where Xiao Zhan's voice had cracked the hardest. "I learned how to smile because you showed me how not to be afraid." The memory snapped into place like a photograph developing in water. Two young men under blinding studio lights years ago, laughing too freely for people who knew how carefully fame demanded they behave. Fans remembered interviews where Xiao Zhan had spoken about learning courage during a difficult period, about someone who steadied him without ever needing credit. No names were mentioned, but everyone heard one. A stage turned confessional. What made that New Year's Eve unbearable, in the best and worst ways, was how unguarded it felt. This wasn't a song built for spectacle. There were no dancers rushing in to distract the eye, no dramatic key change designed for applause. The lighting stayed soft, almost shy, as if the stage itself were trying not to intrude. When the tears came, Xiao Zhan didn't wipe them away immediately. They stayed, catching the light, turning into tiny mirrors. In that moment, he didn't look like a superstar welcoming a new year. He looked like someone standing at the edge of something unfinished. Fans noticed how he never closed his eyes during the song. He kept them open, searching the dark, as though half expecting a familiar silhouette to appear between the lights and the smoke. When it didn't, his shoulders dropped, just slightly, just enough to break hearts. The countdown reached 0. Fireworks exploded. The world celebrated. Xiao Zhan kept singing. The internet decides to remember. Hours later, edits surfaced, slow-motion cuts of that performance layered with old clips, old smiles, old stages shared. Comment sections filled with a strange, reverent quiet. This wasn't gossip energy. It was mourning energy. It was nostalgia sharpened into hope. "Even if it's not for him," one fan wrote, "it feels like it is." Others agreed. Some said the song felt like a letter never meant to be sent, only written so the writer could survive. Some said it felt like goodbye. Others insisted it felt like waiting. And always, the same question hovered. If the song wasn't meant for Wang Yibo, why did it sound like it was? Silence as a second voice. What happened next was just as powerful as the tears themselves. Nothing. No clarifications. No playful denial. No interview soundbite to cool the speculation. Xiao Zhan posted a simple New Year's greeting, grateful, warm, carefully neutral. The song remained untouched, uncontextualized, allowed to breathe on its own. That silence became part of the performance. Fans read it as respect, as protection, as proof that some things were too personal to package for public consumption. The absence of explanation made the emotion feel heavier, not lighter, like a door left ajar on purpose. The song climbed charts not because it was promoted aggressively, but because people kept returning to it, needing to hear it again, needing to feel that crack in the voice one more time. A night that changed the calendar. Years from now, people will still talk about that New Year's Eve, not for the fireworks, not for the countdown, but for the moment a song turned into a wound and a memory at the same time. Whether it was for Wang Yibo or for a version of the past Xiao Zhan could no longer reach, one truth remains undeniable. That night, he let the world see something real. Something unfinished. Something brave enough to hurt. And as fans replay the performance, again and again, they aren't just listening to a song. They're listening to a moment that refused to disappear.